5-minute warning. Two-minute warning. Everyone settle down, please take your seats. Sergeant Arms, secure the hall.
All secure, Commander.
I call this meeting of the National Executive Committee meeting to order. Please join me in a salute to the colors of our nation by the numbers. 1, 2. Due to a death of his family, National Chaplain Daniel DePose is unable to be with us this week. I call on my friend, past National Commander Daniel C. Hafer, for the invocation, followed by the POW MIA Remembrance Ceremony.
We pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to gather once again for our spring meetings. This is not only a prestigious room with a lot of history, but a place where service to all veterans and their families is front and center. We humbly recognize that this organization, no, wait a minute, Lord, that this family exists because of great sacrifice. Yes, a sacrifice that's only empowered by yours, but a sacrifice that truly changes lives and saves lives. And so, Lord, guide us through our deliberations as we work together. And may the good of the American Legion and those we represent be our foremost consideration, always being the one, as we honor your name and benefit our communities. We pray this in your life-saving name, and so it shall be. Amen.
Amen.
Resolution 288, adopted at the 67th Annual National Convention, encourages the designation of a POW MIA chair or flag at all official meetings of the American Legion. This is a symbol of the many American POW MIAs still accounted for from all wars and conflicts involving our nation. With the POW MIA flag positioned to my left, let it serve as a reminder for all of us to spare no effort to secure the release of any American prisoners, the repatriation of the remains of those who have been killed in action, and a full accounting of those who are still missing. Let us rededicate ourselves to this vital endeavor.
I call on National Sergeant at Arms Everett G. Shepard III from the Department of Connecticut to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in reciting the pledge of allegiance to our country in unison.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please recover and join me in reciting the preamble of the Constitution of the American Legion in unison. For God and country,
We associate ourselves together for the following purposes: to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, to maintain law and order, to foster and perpetuate 100% Americanism, to preserve the memories and incidents of our association in all wars, to inculcate a sense of individual obligation to the community, state, and nation, to combat the autocracy of both the classes and the masses, to make right the master of might, to promote peace and goodwill on earth, to safeguard and transmit to posterity the principles of justice, freedom, and democracy, to consecrate and sanctify our comradeship by our devotion to mutual helpfulness.
at this time I call on National Adjutant Rodney K. Rowland of Georgia for the roll call.
National Commander James Jim LaCourcier.
Here.
National Vice Commanders James Kellogg.
Here.
Gary B. Leach.
Here.
Joseph Lysick.
Here.
Roger Matheson. Charles Robbins. Past National Commanders John P. J. Comer. Robert Turner. Excuse. Bruce Thiessen. Excuse. Daniel Lugwit. Joseph Frank. Excuse. Anthony Jordan. Excuse. Butch Miller. Excuse. The Honorable Alan Lance, Sr. Excuse. Richard Santos. Ronald Connolly. Excuse. The Honorable John A. Breeden III. Excuse. Thomas Bach. Paul A. Morin. Martin Canasser. Robert W. Spinogle. Excuse. David Rabine. Clarence Hill. Jimmy Foster. Fang Wong. James Couch. Daniel Dellinger. Michael Ham. Harold Burnett, excused. Charles Smith.
Present.
Denise Rowan. Brett Rosted.
Here.
James Bill Oxford.
Here.
Paul Dillard.
Here.
Vincent Triola.
Here.
Daniel S. Willer.
Still here.
Daniel C. Hafer.
Still here.
Hardwick O. Hall Sr. James Pisa. Andreas Jamie. Mary Ertman. Jerry Romano. Robert Murray. Michael Havel. Christopher Herndon. Jim Ramos. Hans Stockenberger. Phil Youngblood. Francis Riddell. Robert Skinner. Roy Weber. Kenneth Cooper. Dennis Suppy. Dan Wiley. William Moore. Randall Butler.
Here.
Rodolph Board. Lloyd Woods. Melvin Smullen.
Present.
Jody Pajak. Larry Money.
Present.
William Barbernet, excused. Peggy Moon.
Here.
Murray Tony.
Here.
George Scarborough.
Here.
Larry Dobb.
Here.
James Costello.
Here.
James Stewart.
Here.
Robert Dion.
Live free or die.
Burley Hannah.
Present.
Edward Chittum.
Here.
Timothy Patton.
Here.
David Shore.
Here.
Stephen Anderson.
Here.
Ronald Chapman.
Here.
Charles O'Leary.
Here.
Kevin Owens.
Here.
Michael Stelaccio.
Here, sir.
Michael Napsey. Carl Nord. Excuse. Ramon Rivera. Excuse. Antonio Araro. James Weinrich.
Here.
Jimmy Hawk.
Here.
Frederick Nelson.
Here.
Robert Hensley.
Here.
John Hines. Terry Scout. Thomas Scotland.
Here.
Linda Dixon.
Here.
Robert Clark.
Here.
William Cow.
Mountaineers are always free.
Robert Chappelle.
Here.
Keith Dawson.
All present accounted for, sir.
Oh, Keith Davison, sorry. That completes the roll call, Commander.
Thank you, Mr. Edgton. The next order of business is the acceptance of the meeting's agenda.
Mr. Commander, I move that the agenda for this meeting be accepted.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to accept today's agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion's carried. We'll now have the reading of the minutes from the previous meeting.
Mr. Commander, I move that the minutes be approved without being read since they have been compiled in digest form and distributed.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded to approve the minutes without being read since they have been compiled in digest form and distributed. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? Nay. Carried. The next item on the agenda is disposal of letters or communications. Mr. Adjutant, do we have any letters or communications?
No.
With no letters or communications, moving on to the next item. Will National Vice Commander Gary Leach please assume the chair? Good morning, national officers, past national commanders, members of the NEC, and all of our special guests. Last week marked the anniversary of a very sad chapter in history. 50 years ago, April 30th, 1975, the South Vietnamese government fell. This was not the ending that many veterans, some of whom are in this room today, had hoped for when they spilled blood, sweat, and tears in a country far from their homes. Make no mistake about it, this was a policy failure, not a military one. Our Vietnam veterans fought bravely and served honorably. They won the battles while politicians and opinion makers lost the war. To all Vietnam veterans, the American Legion says, thank you and welcome home. The despair that many Vietnam veterans still feel today is not unlike what our Afghanistan veterans have also experienced with the poorly planned withdrawal from that country just a few years ago. Whether psychological trauma was induced by war or any other circumstances, the American Legion is a friend to all veterans. We know that it is okay to not be okay as long as we are there with our brothers and sisters. You are why the American Legion exists and why we have Be the One. Loss of a job can also be traumatic. Our Washington office is fully engaged with the administration and Congress in stressing the importance of veterans' preference in hiring and also retention. In fact, we are engaged on all major issues regarding veterans. We have been repeatedly assured by the VA Secretary and members of Congress that the reductions will not impact benefits and the health care. Those who attended the Washington Conference heard Secretary Doug Collins publicly profess his commitment to veterans. We will continue to monitor the impact of these policies as we advocate for all veterans. The administration recently announced a 4% increase in the VA budget. This fits in well with our legislative agenda. I believe the most effective form of advocacy is through action. Last year, American Legion service officers helped more than 1.2 million veterans free of charge with their VA disability claims and health care needs. Again, that's 1.2 million. The American Legion family also contributes billions of volunteer hours and donates millions of dollars annually to support VA facilities nationwide. Each year, the American Legion, at the community, department, and national levels, is involved with more than 1,100 career events to help veterans and their families transition. And we continue to help those who are still serving in the military today. When I visited Shaw Air Force Base in March, I heard from command officials and community members that airmen stationed there receive approximately $400 less in monthly housing allowances than those stationed at nearby Fort Jackson. It didn't seem right to most of the personnel there. There also isn't a single military dining facility available for use at Shaw. We have brought this to the attention of Congress. If we want to attract and retain the best volunteers to serve, we must insist that the quality of life for families is worthy of that service. A survey by Blue Star Families found that only 32% of active duty families would recommend military service to a young relative. 77% of the families surveyed said 2 incomes were vital to their well-being, and 72% said it took their spouses more than 3 months to find work after a PCS change. These statistics prove that our friends in the auxiliary and Sons of the American Legion have known all along it isn't just the veteran who serves, but their families as well. That's why we so strongly advocated for the Elizabeth Dole Act, which was signed in January. That's why we are calling for VA home loan transferability for family members, and why we want spouses of the fallen to be able to keep their benefits when they remarry. Family is vitally important to the American Legion, not just those that include veterans. Our youth programs benefit entire communities and mold the leaders of tomorrow. This month, some remarkable young people will be arriving at Hillsdale College for our National Oratorical Contest Finals. Not only will these high school students showcase their enormous talent, but they will be benefiting from a special relationship that the American Legion has developed with that historic campus. This is a college that cherishes the Constitution and America's glorious history. I began my remarks by reflecting on a tragic anniversary, the fall of Saigon, but we have much to celebrate. 250 years ago, the Army, Navy, and Marine Corps were established. Next year marks the 250th birthday of the founding of this great nation. There are some resolutions for you to consider about the nature of these celebrations and the vital role that the American Legion can play in these events. Another important milestone is the centennial of American Legion baseball. In 1925, John Griffith introduced his vision of the program to the South Dakota Department Convention. Quote, "Intelligent courage, fighting instinct, and cooperation are some things which I believe are visibly expressed in our athletic programs," unquote. Griffith told delegates 100 years ago. Quote, "American Legion Post, as a matter of citizenship training, could easily carry out such athletic activities throughout the United States," unquote. Over the last century, it is conservatively estimated that 10 million young people have played American Legion baseball. I can't tell you how many times since I've been commander that I've met with a public official, a military member, or a community leader who has told me about their experience as a participant in one of our youth programs. Baseball, oratoricals, Boys and Girls State, shooting sports, you name it. Our programs touch many, and they do make a difference. We may have 1.5 billion members of the American Legion, but our outreach is at least 100 times that. Let's continue moving the American Legion family forward. Let's continue moving the United States of America forward. God bless each and every one of you. Look forward to a productive meeting. Thank you.
Mr. Commander, motion to receive and file your opening remarks.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to receive and file the opening remarks from the National Commander. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, signify by aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Carried. Will the National Vice Commander James D. Kellogg please assume the chair? Next, it truly is my great honor and privilege to introduce a woman who has a passion for serving veterans and their families. A member of the American Legion Auxiliary, Unit 250 in Kansas, she was elected last summer to lead the nation's largest veterans auxiliary. She is eligible through the military service of her father, John M. Rosati, and her grandfather, Edmund S. Lundberg. Both of them World War II veterans. Ladies and gentlemen, the National President of the American Legion Auxiliary, Trish Ward.
Good morning, Commander Corsier, members of the NEC, members and guests. I can't believe it's been 7 months since I stood here at the fall meetings and addressed you. Jim, Joseph, and I started this journey together in August in New Orleans, and we've remained committed and aligned to the mission of this organization. Of course, serving veterans and their families, but our very special mission of Be the One. Tomorrow I leave for my 39th department visit. And through all those department visits, we talk so much about the things that are so important to us. The Be the One mission. So many stories out in the ranks, so many veterans who connect with us, and I have to tell you one story. I was on my official visit to Nevada, and I was at Post 8 in Las Vegas. We were just hanging out. There were just 3 of us, my 2 traveling companions and myself, and the club room manager. And in the doors, in a completely vacant post, walks a young man who looks around and says, "Someone told me I should come here. I need a veteran service officer." I'm not from Nevada, but fortunately, that club room manager was right on it, had the information for him, gave it to him, and I felt calm. And then he sat down next to me, and he proceeded to tell me how he'd been deployed more than 5 times, was teaching his 10-year-old son how to shoot, and that he was no longer with his son's mom. In a nanosecond, here's what I thought. Need a veteran service officer, has access to firearms, and has relationship issues. I calmly and patiently looked at him and said, I have to ask this question. Are you considering self-harm? And gratefully, he said no. But if I hadn't been trained by the Columbia Protocol and all of our American Legion family priorities, I'm not sure I would have been ready to help him. And I'm not sure that today I wouldn't be thinking about him. What could I have done differently? What should I have done differently? So everyone needs to take that Columbia Protocol, because you never know when someone is going to cross your path, and you might be the one to save that individual. I am so grateful for the Columbia Protocol. I urge everyone to take it. Thank you. As I travel, I talk about 4 things that are incredibly important to the American Legion family. Yes, I tell everyone, please don't stop doing what you're doing, supporting adaptive sports that Nicole Clapp rolled out, caregivers under Kathy Dottistel, the Veterans Creative Arts Festival under Vicki Kautz, and of course the Be the One mission under the administration last year. So important. But I talk about these 4 things because I think they're also important. And I call them truth statements. Truth statement number 1, small town America is struggling. When small town America struggles, we struggle because we were built on small town America. We have to keep our small towns vibrant, we have to keep them energetic, and we have to bring enthusiasm. And we're the ones to do it because it's where we live and it's where our little posts are. And I have to tell you, because it's important, and you have to know, in the past 10 years, the American Legion Auxiliary has surrendered the charters of more than 2,100 little units. 2,100 beautiful, little, thriving units gone. Yes, we've lost charters. But wait, we've gained them too. And I have to tell you about one moment that happened to me a couple of weeks ago. Because in the past 8 months and 8 days, this is truly one of the proudest moments I've ever had. Way to go, Vermont, for rechartering the Gilman, Vermont unit in Little Gilman, Vermont. Why is that important? Well, that was the unit that Isadore Fox belonged to, and she was the wife of George Fox, one of the 4 chaplains that was lost on the Dorchester. Isadore was a past Department of Vermont president, and also a past ALA national chaplain. And that little unit had been surrendered long ago, but it's back now, and I signed the charter. And here's what's really cool about it. George Fox's and Isadore Fox's grandchildren are part of the members on that charter roll. So the family, and the American Legion family, has played a role in bringing that charter back. And I promise you, as long as I am alive, that unit is going nowhere. It is strong, and it is vibrant, and it's going to do amazing things. Way to go, Vermont. And I gotta give a little love to President John Tester. Yes, the American Legion Auxiliary welcomes men, the spouses of veterans who have proudly served our country, And we have a president who's a gentleman in both Utah and Vermont. So well done, President John Tester and the Vermont American Legion family. It was an amazing moment. So yeah, we have to keep our small town strong and vibrant. True statement number 2, and if I could wave my magic wand and fix any one of them right now, I would fix this one. Leadership capacity is dwindling. We have to have leaders in this organization. It's the one thing that can fix everything. Here's what I think about it. It's just the world according to Ward. You might think differently, and that is okay. We need more leaders. We need more experienced leaders. People who maybe lead in their business environment and want to come lead with us. And this is really important, I think. We need more diverse leaders. People who don't look like me, people who don't love like me, people who don't pray like me, because diversity makes us stronger. And here's the thing. In our military is very diverse. So how can we help them if we don't understand them? And when we're stronger, the American Legion family leads more people and lets them know that we stand for all the good things that this organization brings. People who don't look like me, people who don't love like me, people who don't pray like me, I don't care what your culture is, I don't care who you pray to, and I don't care who you love. If you want to support veterans and their families, we have a place for you. I believe that. Third true statement is this. Membership is aging and churning. Churning is just a big fancy word like inculcate, and all it means is leaving. So I have a secret to tell you. And you know what that means. When you have a secret, go tell everyone. We're a membership organization. Go sign everyone up. It makes us stronger. I want to see this organization thrive. We need members to do it. So let's go sign everybody up. I still haven't figured out why every eligible person in this country doesn't belong to us, because we do so much good. We really do. Last true statement is this. The infrastructure of some of our posts is weakening. If you wouldn't bring your children and grandchildren to the post, that's a problem. Because in the old days, the kids grew up and they became leaders in this organization. You know what it was. Hey, Mom and Dad, where are we going for summer vacation? Wherever the Legion Convention is. They grew up together. They became leaders together. We want to keep that. I've seen amazing things happen. I tell a lot of stories. I promise, Jim, I'll get your team out of here by midnight. Promise. In my little town of Grove, Oklahoma, I know it's very complicated. I'm from the Western Division, the great state of California. I proudly and forever will represent the Central Division, the great state of Kansas, my beloved Kansas. But I live in the Southern Division, and that's Oklahoma. And when Steve and I moved there, we did what every Legion family does. Let's go see the Legion. And we went right over to Quality Pritchard, and I looked at that building, and I said, I am not going in there. I am going home. It was really struggling. But people like you changed that. They had very little money in the bank. They got together, and they said, not here. We're going to fix it. And they did. They changed that post. They built that post. It's now thriving, and here's the big win. Here's the big win. That post that I would not go into in 2014, last year, was the first post in the great state of Oklahoma where their Legion, their sons, their auxiliary, and their writers were 100% in membership. That's what people do. I believe we fix those 4 things. There is nothing that can stop us. Last summer, I had the honor and pleasure to hang out at Girls State, and it is my heart to meet those young people who come to us, and we change lives. And I had a young person in my community who was really struggling. That kid was really struggling. And I knew about it, but I was there. I was there for her. And she thrived, and she was welcomed, and she participated, and it changed her life. She said, would you write a letter to me for college? Absolutely, I would. She got into her #1 college. And then word came back to me that that kid was contemplating suicide. And because of Girls State, that kid felt valued and welcomed and believed that the future was there. And it is. We save lives. We do. Not only in Be the One, but also in our children. And our children struggle, so we have to be there for them. A couple of weeks back, it's a very difficult time for this president. As a chairman of the board of the American Legion Auxiliary, I am responsible for decisions, and sometimes they're not popular. You lose friends, you lose people that you valued in your life. It's a very difficult time. And I'll be perfectly honest with you. Every department I've visited has been amazing, but Utah saved me. They did. I was having to make some very difficult decisions for this organization, and I still continue to have to make those. I'd received some very difficult information from the Legion. My husband had been taken to the hospital, middle of the night. He's okay, but I'm out on the West Coast and he's in Kansas. I didn't know what was going on. The national president doesn't travel with an aide, so me and my heavy luggage were alone and really tired. But here's what happened. Utah took me to Jay Hess. Jay is an amazing Legionnaire who spent 5.5 years in the Hanoi Hilton. Think about that. Over 2,000 days in the Hanoi Hilton. And all of a sudden, what was going on in my life couldn't compare to what had happened in his life. And then they took me to an elementary school that's right next to an Air Force base, and it's comprised of 95% of military kids. And I had the opportunity to speak to 2nd graders and 4th graders and 5th graders. And I talked to them about what being a military kid really means, the good and the not so good. And this one guy raised his hand and he said, well, it's hard when your daddy goes off to war and comes home in the hospital. What do you say? I couldn't say everything was going to be okay because I wasn't sure and I didn't know. But I could say this: we will be there for him and we will be there for you. That's a promise I could keep. And as I left and those 2nd graders filed out, this one little guy came up to me and he looked at me and he said, I think you need a hug. And then he said, I think you need another one. So if you ever wonder why we do what we do, I will tell you, sometimes, like that young person at Girls State, we save lives. And sometimes, like that little guy, they save us. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak this morning. I can't wait to see you all in Tampa Bay. Today's a very special day. Commander LaCourcier mentioned my father, John M. Bersati, proud member of the Greatest Generation, the U.S. Army in World War II, and today he would have been 106. On behalf of the nearly 600,000 members of the American Legion Auxiliary, it's my honor and pleasure to present to Commander LaCourcier a check in the amount of $10,000 for the American Legion Veterans and Children Foundation.
Thank you, Madam President. A charter member of Otero Navarrete Squadron 72 in Albuquerque, our next guest is the son of Army veteran and New Mexico Adjutant Tony Navarrete and past national president of the Auxiliary, Rita Navarrete. He and his wife Loretta share a family of 7 children and 8 grandchildren. Through their shared values and example, they strive daily to teach their kids honor, love, and respect. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to introduce you to the Sons of the American Legion National Commander Joseph Navarrete.
Good morning. I am honored to be here with you today representing more than 390,000 members of the Sons of the American Legion. The Sons have continued with our historic year. With closing in on another all-time high in membership, we look to surpass that elusive 400,000 mark in membership going into Tampa Bay. We continue to lead the pack in funds raised for Children Wellbeing Foundation. We just wrapped up our NEC meetings earlier this past weekend, and what a great weekend it was, with donations of just over $40,000 to CWF. Just under $9,000 to NEF, and $8,900 to Veterans and Children Foundation. With a few smaller donations made to several other programs, we totaled over $74,000 this weekend alone. Your sons continue to do what we do best. We all know this mission is not just about money. It's about making a real difference in the lives of those who have sacrificed for us. As Sons of the American Legion, we stand firm in that commitment, and I know we will rise to meet the challenges ahead. Abraham Lincoln once said, "The better part of one life consists of his friendships." This is so true, and I know it firsthand standing right here in front of you. The Sons of the American Legion have given me the opportunity to meet so many incredible individuals who are now my brothers and sisters. The bonds we share truly represent the better part of my experience as National Commander. It is a privilege and an honor to stand alongside you and work towards a shared goal of supporting our veterans and their families. Our members are providing support to our nation's veterans. Our work in assisting veterans in local VA hospitals, medical centers, continues to grow and will always remain a top priority of the Sons of the American Legion. We continue to pledge to be the one and help end veteran suicide. Even one life is too many. Members in every detachment support the 4 pillars that our organization was founded on. We have proved that our local squadrons can and do make a difference, no matter how small or large they are. Please know that your service is appreciated. I want to thank you for your commitment to this organization, to our country, and most importantly, to the Legion family. Commander LaCourcier, thank you. You truly make me feel part of a family. I look forward to us finishing this journey off strong down in Tampa. I hope that you have a very productive and successful NEC, and I look forward to seeing many of you in my travels. Thank you for allowing me to address you this morning, and thank you for your service and everything you do. And always, always remember, todo es posible con Dios y familia. Everything is possible with God and family. Thank you, and God bless.
The chair now recognizes National Vice Commander Gary B. Leach of California for his report.
Thank you, Commander. Good morning, members of the NEC. On the topic of what I've learned this year, the subject of membership, I've learned that some department leaders were unfamiliar with the benefits of conducting membership revitalizations, some due to never having been a part of one. And some were reluctant to request national assistance with one because they believed that their respective departments were going to be responsible for picking up all the costs, which is, of course, not true. I've also learned there's confusion when it comes to DMS transfers. Some still believe there's a three-year waiting period that they have to go through before they can get DMS members transferred into traditional posts. In fact, we need to get them transferred in ASAP because the renewal rate for DMS transfers is less than 60%. But as of yesterday's National Membership Report, the renewal rate for traditional post members is up to 87.26%, slightly less than the commander's goal of 90%, but reachable certainly. Hopefully we've gotten all these misconceptions cleared up. Unfortunately, I've also learned we still have some posts in rural areas who are doing membership transmittals on paper and sending them in through the United States Postal Service because Post doesn't have a computer. Not having a computer at a post certainly puts them in a not so great position because they don't have access to the great membership tools that are available to us all on mylegion.org. They can't get to find members in my area or transfer letters, renewal letters, mailing labels, etc. On a positive side, I got to travel to Arlington, Virginia, not West Virginia, for Veterans Day. And I just have to say that I believe our Washington staff is made up of consummate professionals. They did a great job taking care of me there. My visit to Department of Washington in February, I learned that they were close to getting their charter back, and they are now off suspension. So congratulations to the Department of Washington. Thank you. Got a few more visits to do, more work to do on membership, but I'm confident that the Western region will improve its numbers before the end of the year, hopefully 100%. Last but not least, speaking of 100%, I want to congratulate the Department of Hawaii because they are the first department in the organization to reach their 100% goal. So congratulations to Hawaii.
It's been moved and seconded to receive and file the report of National Vice Commander Leach. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Carried. Chair now recognizes the National Vice Commander James C. Kellogg of Minnesota for his report.
Good morning, Commander LaCourcier, past national commanders, executive committee members, and guests. What I have learned as National Vice Commander in the Midwest, I have learned that the Legion members of the Midwest states have chosen wisely in electing some outstanding and dedicated Legionnaires. I have learned that the national staff I have worked with are patient and the nicest and kindest employees that we could ask for. I have learned that we have a very historic and busy national headquarters in Washington, D.C. I hope all of you can see it one day, if not in person, then virtually in the near future. I have learned that the timely distribution of membership dues from national back to the departments is critical to maintain their cash flows without disruption. I have learned that this is the most rewarding office I have held in my 48 years as a Legion member. I look forward to seeing our national commander
in his cheerleading outfit at this year's membership workshop in July after another year of stopping the decline in membership. Gentlemen, your National Vice Commanders are here to cheer you on to victory. Thank you for your kind attention.
It has been moved and seconded to receive and file the report of National Vice Commander Kellogg. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Carried. The chair now recognizes the National Vice Commander, Charles K. Robbins of New Jersey, for his report.
Good morning. Tough act to follow there. National Commander Corsair, national officers, past national commanders, members of the NEC, national staff, Legion family members, distinguished guests. What an honor for me to stand before all of you today. In an effort to be as brief as possible, tell no jokes, and to keep this report in line with National Adjutant Rowland's request, the following are a few of the many things I have learned this year, and take it with me everywhere I have gone. First, and maybe most importantly, would be the way each department in the Northeast handles membership. We all know membership is the lifeline of our organization. In the Northeast, every department promotes or conducts membership in line with the strategies outlined in the 21st Century Strategic Plan. They promote membership effectively through recruitment, focusing on renewals and expressing the value of membership, by retention, through training, education, and leadership development, by knowing the importance of buddy checks and promoting our Be the One mission, and lastly, knowing the importance of community involvement. In the Northeast, we have shared throughout the year different ways each department promotes membership, and our monthly Zoom calls were a great way of doing this. It was good to hear and see that many posts are focused on adapting to the needs and wants of our younger veterans, and that our female veterans are treated on the same par as their male counterparts, and many are in key leadership positions. I could go on with many other things I learned and shared throughout my year, and there are more which are outlined in my written report, but I'll end by saying this. I consider myself a very patriotic person, and like all of you, I love this country and the principles and values it stands for, and the meaning of the word freedom. And I know all too well the sacrifices my brothers and sisters have made on our behalf. Recently, and maybe over the past 5 years or so, I've seen things happen or being done in our country that have sickened me and made me ask myself, my God, what direction is our country heading in, and whatever happened to true patriotism? Well, since becoming a National Vice Commander, and because of the American Legion, I'm proud to report that true patriotism, love of country, and respect for those who have served does exist and is alive and well in America. Whether it be through my many department visitations, covering special events for National Commander Corsair, like Navy ship commissionings, or leading the American Legion contingent down the Canyon of Heroes in the New York City Veterans Day Parade, where at each I had the opportunity to speak with crew members, active duty personnel, and veterans alike. And despite blizzard conditions, cold, freezing weather, and putting up with National Vice Commander Joe Lysick for 10 days, on routes across America's incredible trek from Maine to Arlington last December, my faith that true patriotism is alive and well in America was truly restored. In all of our 22 stops along Reed's trip, I have never seen an outpouring of true patriotism, love of country, and respect for those who have served, from young and old alike, like I did on this trip. Remember the fallen, honor those who have served, and teach our children the value of freedom is Reed's motto, and one we should all adhere to. National Commander, these are a few of the many things I have learned this year. I know in the coming months left in our year, I will learn a lot more. Lastly, I want to thank all the departments in the Northeast for their incredible hospitality shown me. I thank the Department of France for currently being #1 in membership. And also thank Mark Woodsmall, Member Engagement Coordinator, Internal Affairs and Membership Division for the Northeast region, for all he has done for me and the Northeast this year. That's my report, Commander.
Receive and file the report of the National Vice Commander, Roberts. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to receive and file the report of National Vice Commander Robbins. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Carried. Chair now recognizes National Vice Commander Joe Lysick of South Carolina for his report.
Good morning, Commander. Good morning, NEC members and distinguished guests. My report now resides on my hard disk at my computer in my study. The problem is, I was hacked 3 days ago, and the genius that was able to break through my security has frozen my system down. But I'm going to have my 3 minutes or whatever I got, I don't know, okay? That's my report. It's going to be short and sweet, okay? I've learned a lot, not only as being a National Vice Commander, but I've also learned a lot over the 27 years I've had a chance to associate with a lot of the people in the American Legion, staff. And it's their support, their understanding, their acceptance, which has allowed me to grow in the American Legion. And I'm deeply grateful for that. I really am. As a National Vice Commander, I won't tell you I know a lot, because that's a big mistake. Nobody says that. It's got any sense. But there are two things that I've learned so far. I learned the real meaning of commitment, and I have been taught to understand and recognize and appreciate patriotism. Chuck had to put up with me, but I had to put up with him, okay? The 10 days that we traveled down the coast, 756 miles, we made 22 stops. Every night was a different hotel. That's a little tricky right there, okay? You don't unpack a lot because you're up the next morning. But the one thing that I saw, which will resonate with me as long as I'm alive, I actually saw patriotism. And I ask you, how many of you have actually seen it? I'm not talking about Old Glory waving. How many of you have really seen patriotism? Because I have. What's it like to see people standing on the side of a road, in the snow, with it snowing, waving the American flag, cheering you on, saluting you, running up to the car, wanting to, you name it, they were doing it. And you know what? Some of them were only that big. Some of them were in strollers. Some of them were in the arms of their grandparents or parents. Every time we had a chance to stop or slow down, we had our windows down, our horns were blowing and everything. And this convoy was about 1.5 miles long, I think, something like, you know, with all the vehicles in it. And they want to come up, they want to see you. Every time we stopped, we went into these auditoriums. Sometimes it was a big post, but most of the time it was an auditorium. I'm an uneducated man. I don't have enough adjectives to tell you what it felt like. My God, I mean, it was unreal. The enthusiasm, honest enthusiasm. And we had a chance to lead them in chairs. We had a chance to shake hands. They greeted us like we were something unreal. And I was embarrassed. Because, I mean, I put my pants on like most people, one leg at a time, but I swear to God, I think they thought we just jumped in them. They wanted to touch you. They wanted to. Can you imagine the value you can receive from that kind of enthusiasm from young people? The people that are going to follow us. the people we need to train and educate and introduce. It's like Joe said a minute ago with the SAL. We need to get them in the SAL. We need to get them involved in the auxiliary. We need to get them involved in American Legion. I learned that. When I visited my departments, and I've got a few more hundred to visit, I don't know, my schedule's 3 pages long right now. I also leave with my departments a fact, and that is, I grew up with this slogan, you are your tomorrow, but you have to work for it today. You are your tomorrow, but you have to work for it today. If you're going to succeed and be successful, you have got to accept within yourself your capabilities and what you can do. And if you're in this organization or any organization for yourself, my other pledge that I make, and many of you in this room have heard me say that, take off the hat, I'll give you back your money for your dues, and I hope you don't speak French, well, one person does, but get the hell out of here, okay? Could have been Spanish, I could have thrown that. The other thing I instilled in my departments, I have the southern region. And we're number one. I can't help it. We got a good region, okay? Has nothing to do with me. Yeah, that's right. I asked them to overcome. That region, in a short period of time, as most of you know, suffered a tremendous amount of disaster. You name it, we got it. We hadn't had snow in 7 years, and damn, we got snow, okay? Floods, mudslides, mountains caving in, roads collapsing, just pick something, okay? Houses floating down the river with people in the house. But those people said, you know what? We can hit our numbers. We can do it. And I use an old phrase that you will recognize, but I really like it, what it said. And I kept saying, we can do it, Waterboy. We can do it. Let's get out there and do it. And for 2 reasons, I am very proud to tell you that the Southern region is the 3rd time, 4th time leader of the, we're gonna beat California, that's what I'm telling you guys, okay, we got them. But what that showed me was commitment. I can't do it. All you can do is encourage and support. And every opportunity I had, every month when I got those reports, I sent an email of acknowledgement to them. And that's what we have to do as leaders. We gotta reach out there, not just in the Southern region, not just in the right now, but forever. Let people know you appreciate the commitment, because without commitment, this organization is not going to grow. And that back door is going to get bigger. The people are going out. So by God, let them know how much you appreciate it. I don't care how little or how big the effort is. Let them know you appreciate what they're doing. And for God's sake, don't be a leader and forget those people. Because when you do, your days are numbered and short. That's it, gentlemen, ladies, Commander. That's my report.
It's been moved and seconded to receive and file the report of National Vice Commander Lysick. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Carried. The chair now recognizes National Vice Commander Roger P. Matheson of Wisconsin for his report.
Thank you, Commander Corsier, members of the National Executive Committee, past national commanders, national staff, Legion family members, and distinguished guests. It's been an honor to serve in leadership this past year, and I'm proud to report the departments of the Central Region are working hard in support of the programs of the American Legion and in promotion of the organization within their communities, and doing so in conjunction with the entire American Legion family. The departments continue to stress the importance of the Be the One initiative and the Buddy Check program. The Be the One and the Buddy Checks, along with the Americanism programs, have a profound effect in our communities. It's being noticed and recognized by the public that the American Legion cares and does. The Central Region was hit hard with natural disasters this past year, from the floods in Kentucky and Ohio and West Virginia, to the winter ice storms in Michigan, to the tornadoes in Indiana. But the departments have responded by giving needed aid and comfort to the veteran families and their communities. The disaster response teams organized in Illinois and Kentucky especially showed how the American Legion can mobilize quickly to effectively give needed relief to communities in stress. It shows the American Legion is an organization of veterans that are still serving America. And while the Central Region is still not 100% membership, the region led the organization for much of the year in renewals. And the departments in the region continue to renew members while conducting outreach to recruit newer generations of veterans into the American Legion. And recognizing the priorities of the newer generation of veterans and the priorities of our communities have changed from that of previous generations. And their ways of communication have changed. The departments in the region have had a great exchange of ideas and best practices, and how to conduct outreach using modern forms of communications and social media. The Department of Michigan has especially been successful in using texting in lieu of email and postal mailings to reach their members, and the program's success is evident. The departments in the Central Legion recognize the importance of training and education in the American Legion. The departments all have active training programs and recognizing the key to growth is understanding the organization and the potential the organization has. And with that understanding, to be able to effectively outreach to the newer, younger veterans, families. Wisconsin is an online American Legion college and leadership courses that have developed many informed leaders and mentors in the American Legion family within our department. The Department of Michigan has a strong mentorship and training program for new post commanders, guidance for female veterans, and mentorship for new members to grow within the department. The Department of Ohio has developed a strong mentorship program for adjutants serving in all capacities in the organization. Generational mentorship is evident in the departments. And good, strong younger leaders are being developed and encouraged to lead in the committees and offices within the departments. Innovative thinking has led the Department of Indiana to develop a successful program to organize American Legion posts within their prison system, giving an incentive for inmates to reevaluate their lives and a direction to return to productive lives once upon their release, and to reduce the recidivism rate, hard to say. In my visits within the region, I was impressed how the American Legion families involved in their communities and how they're the center of the community activities in both large and small communities. And they continue with partnerships that they have developed with other organizations to better serve their communities, better serve the needs of their communities. And the family is connected and being heard by their legislative representatives in Washington and their state capitals. And they are connected and volunteering in their local VA hospitals and clinics. I'm very proud of the work of the Central Region, and they continue to impress me with their support and care for their fellow veterans' families. This concludes my report, and Commander, thank you for allowing me to serve as your National Vice Commander this year.
Commander, let us receive and file a report of National Vice Commander Matheson. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to receive and file the report of National Vice Commander Matheson. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Carried. The chair recognizes National Adjutant Rodney K. Rowland of Georgia for any announcements.
All National Commission shares have been certified as eligible members in good standings of the American Legion.
Thank you. Before we move on to our next order of business, I'd like to announce the results of the mail-in vote taken by this body concerning the reinstatement of the charter for the Department of Washington. The vote count was 58 in favor and 1 abstention. The motion to reinstate the Department of Washington passes. The chair recognizes Chairman of the Resolution Subcommittee, William W. Kyle of West Virginia, for a report on resolutions.
Mr. Commander, your subcommittee on resolutions has been meeting regularly to review the resolutions. We have 18 resolutions that will be presented, coming from the commissions and committees to make reports. Any resolution seeking National Executive Committee approval will follow the report of the commissions. All resolutions which have been disposed of by other action or held for further study will be reported on an addendum. Our thanks to the commission for the efficient, accurate handling of resolutions for this meeting. This has had a positive impact on the work of the subcommittees. Mr. Commander, I ask that you prepare the NEC for memorializing resolutions.
Please rise and uncover.
Remembering a pretty special service to our country and his outstanding contributions to American Legion comradeship. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the National Executive Committee of the American Legion, in regular meeting assembled on this 7th day of May in the year of our Lord 2025, does mourn the passing of our distinguished legionnaire, Miles S. Appley, that we commend to all men his works and to God his spirit, and be it finally resolved that in token of our common grief, a copy of this resolution be presented to his family. Similar resolutions will be presented to the families of the following: Willis Fraser, Alabama; Autry James, California; Philip R. Earlson, Florida; Don G. Gunderson, Idaho; Norbert Budemeyer, Indiana; Donald R. Kahn, Indiana; James E. Gorgel, Indiana; John Kepler, Indiana; Dennis Pruitt, Indiana; Damon Christensen, Kansas; James R. Johnson, Louisiana; William J. Chisholm, Massachusetts; Norbert Scarlett, Michigan; Joseph Scander Sr., New Hampshire; George V. West, New Hampshire; Anthony E. Kern, New Jersey; Daniel E. McCall, New Jersey; Michael L. Braswell, North Carolina; Robert L. Krause, North Dakota; Louis Newbecker, Oregon; Raymond A. Sabari, Rhode Island; John E. Demir Sr., Rhode Island; John D. Dillinger, South Carolina; Carl E. Levy, Tennessee; James E. Markham, Tennessee; Alexander Ertz, Utah; Hal G. Hatch, Utah; Norman L. Nelson, Utah; Hudson J. Stewart III, Vermont; David F. Russell, Virginia; Thomas E. Sanders, Virginia; James A. Davison, Washington; William D. Barnes, Wyoming. When the Earth's last picture is painted and the tubes are twisted and dry, when the oldest colors have faded and the youngest critics has died, we shall rest in faith and we shall need it. Lie down for an eon or two until the master of all good work shall put us to work anew.
Thank you, Chairman. This time you all may be seated, but remain uncovered for a moment. Is there anybody at this time that may want to offer a eulogy for past National Commander Epling?
The record is very important to the NEC, and it is lists of years, it lists as National Vice Commander 85, 86. I want to tell you, he's the last of my 5 National Vice Commanders that probably served with me in 87, 88. I wish that to be part of the record. Miles Epling was very special.
Thank you, Commander Comer. Is there anybody else? Hearing none, you may recover. I now call on the chairman of the American Legion Department Advisory Committee, past National Commander Thomas L. Bach of Colorado, for a report.
Good morning. Any questions? No. Okay. National officers, national commander, national staff, members of the National Executive Committee. It is our duty and responsibility to give you a report from the Department Advisory Committee. I always emphasize it's for advice, not reconstruction, even though our duties and responsibilities sometimes expand. We have a couple of active reports. I would like our Vice Chairman, David Rabine, and past National Commander Charlie Schmidt to join me up here to give a brief summary for the Department of Washington and the Department of Colorado.
Commander LaCourciere, national officers, past department commanders, members of the National Executive Committee, ladies and gentlemen. Commander, you announced just a few minutes ago of the resolution that you all passed in regards to the Department of Washington. On February 1st, National Commander Leach, Ken George of the staff, and myself attended the mid-year conference of Washington. During that conference, we announced the results of your resolution to reinstate the charter of the Department of Washington effective 1 March. Since 1 March, things have been heating up. They have come together because even though they got their charter along with a probation, and that probation was outlined in a memorandum of understanding that was made up with National and the Department of Washington, outlining some things that not only National had to do, but the department had to do. Hire an adjutant, get their officers elected, get their commissions and committees in order, review their constitution and bylaws, which they already had, and also their standard operating procedures. They have got their officers elected. They are working on their commissions and committees. In fact, they're getting ready for Boys State. They are working on those SOPs, and hopefully the commander says they will hopefully have those done by their department convention, January 11th through the 13th. Hopefully they'll have them done before then. They are also have probably the hardest task they have, and probably like 5 or 6 other departments, of hiring an adjutant. Because when you hire a department adjutant, you want to get the right person. So I think that's probably going to be their most challenging thing right now. But they're coming along. They're working together. You know, even while they didn't have any department officers, the districts and the posts carried on the American Legion in the state of Washington. Even the service officers working, still serving veterans. We hope that by their convention that we will be able to lift that probationary cloud, and they will be a department in whole. So the good news is I think good things are happening. And as a result of this, I think what I saw since March 1st, a rise in their membership. They're going back at it, doing the things that they should do, growing and doing the Legion programs, serving veterans and serving their families. Commander, that concludes my report.
The Department of Colorado. I wish I could stand here and give the same report
for Colorado that you just heard for Washington, but Colorado has not yet progressed to that point. It's my hope that we will reach that point this summer and into the fall. Right now, Colorado's progress, we have a constitution and bylaws written that will take effect when they become a department again. We're working on personnel policy. We're working on what you know is the outline of authorization, setting up committees. We will be going to a department convention the end of June. Between now and that department convention, the Legionnaires of Colorado have got to start taking ownership and helping make the decisions. That's a challenge for them, but it's going to be a challenge for us too, because in order for them to start taking ownership in the decisions, we as a committee have to step back some. Trust has to develop both ways. And so that's a goal. One of the challenges that they have to meet, one of the decisions that they have to make, at their department convention, will they have an election of new officers? Or will they instead do a vote of confidence in the officers that they have? If they elect new officers, if they chose to go that route, it will delay the reinstatement of their charter, because the committee has to work with the new officers until they become comfortable in the process where we are. So that's a big decision on their part. That's one they're going to have to struggle with, and I hope they make the right decision, because frankly, our committee's goal is to reinstate the charter as soon as we possibly can. It's been 2 years in Colorado. It's been 2 difficult years. I think we can see the light at the end of the tunnel and know it's not a train. But there's a lot of decisions that have to be made yet. I will give you our committee's goal for that reinstatement process. 1, they choose to stay with their current officers who have been developing the process so far. If that happens, then I think we can reasonably expect to come to this committee, to the National Executive Committee, with a motion, with a recommendation to reinstate the charter at the pre-convention NEC. If that happens, then we can kick off the MOU probationary period. I think in Colorado, we're looking at 90 to 120 days for that process to play itself out for full restoration of the charter. But there are many ways that this process can go awry. And so don't take that as a guaranteed timeline. Take that as a hopeful timeline, because the Legionnaires in Colorado are beginning to take ownership. We have to continue to see that increase. We have to continue to see them take accountability for what happened in Colorado. Because until they take accountability for what happened in Colorado, we run the risk of it happening again. And that's the last thing this committee wants, is to reinstate the charter in 6 to 9 months, and 2 to 3 years after that, see this whole process start all over again. That danger exists. Until they take that ownership, until they step forward and say, this is our department, we choose how to run it, that risk is going to be there. But we're hopeful. We've got new people coming on board, some really bright individuals, particularly around the finances, which is a great thing. That's the one place where we really had problems. So, progress is being made. We're looking forward to Colorado being back to full department status sometime next fall. But we got our fingers crossed that that's actually going to happen. Mr. Commander, I want to thank you. I want to thank the NEC, but I particularly want to thank the members of the committee that have worked with Colorado, Mr. Paul Dillard, Mr. Jimmy Foster. They have been invaluable in helping work through the problems in Colorado to put this back together. Mr. Commander, thank you. Mr. Chairman.
That's tough when you fall over a rug. But, thank you, gentlemen. I really appreciate these reports. The hard work of the committee has been going on, and I appreciate them filling out during my recent absence, but that's not the end of the road. We will give you some information we'll be passing out today for you to review tonight on the Department of Nebraska, and there'll be resolutions for you to consider and vote on tomorrow for that. I wish I could say that's the end of the list, but it continues. We do have some concerns with other departments, several other departments, one being the Department of Oregon, one being the Department of Georgia. I blame, don't smile when you say that, the Department of Florida, because they discovered how to activate this committee. The first year we were having a great year, nothing happened. And then a couple of questions started up, and then people started discovering how to activate, how to energize this committee. We are, as I said, the Department Advisory Committee, and we like to be in an advisory role. The reconstruction portion is very challenging and difficult. That's where we need your help in your departments. Make sure you're bringing your leadership and your membership together. This is a membership organization. We need their buy-in and their enforcement. If we get some elected officials that read something into their title, one is commonly referred to as Chief Executive Officer. That's always been a hot button for me. We don't have a department chief executive officer. We have a department executive committee that handles. We have a leader, it's called the department commander. And yes, he is a leader, but he is not the final leader that says it's my way or the highway. We need you to help educate and train our membership on the roles and responsibilities of the posts, the districts, the department officers, and your department executive committee. I realize we're being impacted a lot by this country right now. We're going through some traumatic things in the past several years and trying to come together. You heard conversations about Americanism and patriotism. It's coming back, but we need to make sure inside our organization we're keeping focus on the mission of the American Legion, our 4 pillars, and why we really exist. So I appeal to you to help. Help us keep the American Legion strong again. I was going to list off all the members of my committee, but sometimes your memory gets old. But you heard some names: Jimmy Foster, David, Charlie, Denise Rohan, Paul Dillard. We also had great assistance from our National Judge Advocate, Mark Seavey, Ken George, and also Sean Long, our National Treasurer. It's been a challenge, but we know the importance of it to get the American Legion united. So with your help, we can do that. Mr. Commander, if there are no other questions that they'd like to write down and give me to consider later, that ends my report.
Mr. Commander, motion to receive and file the report of the Department Advisory Committee. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to receive and file the report of the Department Advisory Committee. Is there any discussion? Yes, Jim.
Commander, there's a statement of facts. When somebody has a problem at a department, they should come and talk first before they throw people under the bus. Communication is number 1. You don't have to like me, but you can talk to me, and if you need someone to referee, you should
Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Carried. I now call on the chairman of the Membership Study Committee, Gaither M. Keener Jr. of North Carolina, for a report.
Okay, I'm going to get us back in time. Thank you, Commander. Welcome, everyone, to this short, whatever I go do. Okay, your special membership meeting. We've had two meetings since October. Of course, the question was, what about the PUFL? What's our liability on the PUFL? Why don't we have members join the PUFL? Let me just read you very shortly. I just want to clarify the status of the PUFL. There's over $25 million in the trust. I sit on the PUFL trust along with several other Legionnaires. National receives $2.5 million annually in dues, an additional $140,000 as administrative fee that goes to the operation account. That does not account the money that goes to the post, does not count the money that goes to the department. If we didn't sell another PUFL membership, the fund would be solvent for 4 years. Selling 9,000 annually, which we do consistently, and more than 9,000 annually, results in trust never becoming ever insolvent. I say again, selling 9,000 PUFLs a year, our PUFL trust never becomes insolvent, at least during my lifetime. Selling only 1,000 PUFLs a year results in the trust remaining solvent until 2043. 2043. There is not a current situation that results in the trust failing to meet its liabilities. Now, if you can read, if you're financially literate, and you read the trust, it shows you $15 million not to meet the requirements. That's annuities. That's actuaries. Do not pay attention to that. Pay attention how much money we have and what comes in, what goes out. And I remind you, if the trust ever fails, the post will always get their money out of that trust. But the department and national has to make sure and guarantee that, because it is a department and a national matter. So what do you need to do? Sell PUFLs. You sell 1,000 PUFLs every year, we're solvent to 2043. Sell 9,000 a year, we're solvent forever based upon the actuary costs. We also had a subcommittee study premium life membership or club forms of membership similar as the VFW has. How many are life members of VFW? Raise your hand. How many are you, and what do you pay? Very much, not very much. Where's the money go? National. Does anything go to the department? No. Does it go to the post? Very little. But then you can do those other life memberships where I can actually make sure some of my money goes to the post. We're not looking at that. We're looking at different twists, a different format. There's a subcommittee working on that where Jay Bowen is the chair on that, not a subcommittee, a working group of my special committee. Let me get my language right before the leadership jumps on me. And Jay is the chair of that. Mr. Commander, that's my report on the special membership study. Mr. Commander, I have the
we got the one report.
Mr. Commander, motion to receive and file the report of the membership study. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to receive and file the report of the Membership Study Committee. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Carried.
Thank you. The treasurer took away that little black airplane I got out front. Did y'all get one? Oh, he said I was dangerous. I was flying it left and right, and, you know, he was afraid I would do that during my report. So he took it away from me. With that said, you have my written report as to the Finance Commission. The Finance Commission met on Monday and Tuesday, May 5, 6. All commission members were attendance, along with the NEC liaison committee members also. The Finance Commission mourns the recent loss of its Vice Chairman Emeritus, Carl Levi, of Tennessee, and he will be missed greatly. I won't read my entire report. You have it. I want to point out a few matters. At the regular scheduled NEC meeting in October 2024, the NEC approved a resolution to fund the development of a membership data solution. Getting rid of the other one. This resolution approved a new computer system at a cost up to $7 million. The restricted fund would be repaid on or before December 31, 2036. Transfer of funds from restricted funds requires a vote by the National Executive Committee at 2 successive meetings. We are presenting today, again, that resolution the second time for your approval. If you have any question, the resolution specifically provides how we pay it back, and NEC members, I know you read that. In today's world, as many of you in business understand, we cannot often wait 6 months between the beginning and conclusion of a decision. We cannot wait 6 months from the beginning to the end of a conclusion. Therefore, we present today a resolution titled Modification of Restricted Funds that will result in future withdrawals from the restricted funds requiring 2 NEC votes, but not less than 4 hours apart. That gives you plenty of time, as in Rule 8A, to just hit us and ask questions. The Finance Commission recommends approval of a resolution entitled American Legion Baseball 100th Anniversary, which will be conducted at a cost not to exceed $13,500 from the American Legion General Fund, which will come from the American Legion Charities, which has already approved that to go to the funds. Mr. Commander, that's my brief report, as the written report goes in greater detail.
Mr. Commander, I move to adopt the report of the Finance Commission with the exception of 8 resolutions and no addendum. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the report of the Finance Commission with the exception of 8 resolutions and no addendum. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Carried.
Resolution number 11, title, Funding the Development of a Membership Data Solution. Origin, Finance Commission. Resolved that the restricted fund provide an amount not to exceed $7 million to fund the development of a membership data solution, and be it finally resolved that the restricted fund be repaid on or before December 31st, 2036 in 10 annual escalating payments beginning on December 31, 2026 at an amount of $300,000 and increasing $90,000 annually until the funds are repaid, but in no case shall the repayment extend beyond December 31, 2036. Resolution number 11 has the approval of the Finance Commission and your Subcommittee on Resolutions, and I move for its adoption.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt Resolution 11. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? Nay. Carried.
Resolution number 12, title, Modification of Restricted Fund. Origin, Finance Commission. Resolved that at the discretion of the Finance Commission, a portion of the net surplus of the American Legion accruing during each fiscal year be transferred to the restricted fund. And be it further resolved that such transfer be reported to the National Executive Committee at its next regular meeting. And be it further resolved that the expenditure of interest and principal from the restricted fund shall be considered after the recommendation of the Finance Commission and a first and second reading with not less than 4 hours intervening. And be it finally resolved that the National Executive Committee Resolution Number 60, November 1949, titled Amend Agreement Regarding Restricted Fund, National Executive Committee Resolution Number 22, May 1950, titled Amend Restricted Fund Agreement, and 1980 National Convention Resolution Number 755, titled Amendment to Restricted Fund Agreement, are hereby superseded and rescinded. Resolution number 12 has the approval of your Finance Commission and your Subcommittee on Resolutions, and I move for its adoption.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for the adoption of Resolution 12. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Carried.
Resolution number 13, title, Authorization to Delegate Contract Signing, Origin, Finance Commission. Resolved that the National Commander has full authority as the Chair of the Board of Directors of the American Legion to delegate his authority for the execution of all contracts of the American Legion to the National Adjutant and/or National Treasurer. And be it further resolved that no contract shall be signed without the National Judge Advocate's review and approval for execution and signature in respect to legal compliance. And be it finally resolved that all previous resolutions or portions thereof in conflict herewith are hereby superseded and rescinded. Resolution number 13 has the approval of your Finance Commission and your Subcommittee on Resolutions, and I move for its adoption.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for the adoption of Resolution 13. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Carried.
Resolution number 14, title, Temporary Financial Assistance Program Policy Update, Origin, Committee on Children and Youth. Resolved that the statement of policy governing the temporary financial assistance is hereby updated as follows. A single one-time, non-repayable temporary financial assistance grant of up to $2,500 may be permitted for the minor children of a qualifying veteran. A qualifying veteran is defined as a member of the United States Armed Forces currently serving on federal orders under Title 10 of the United States Code, inclusive of all components, or any veteran possessing an up-to-date membership in the American Legion. An inquiry into and verification of the need and cause of need should be conducted by a personal visitation to the home or other whereabouts of such children by a competent investigator. Formal documentation and/or a signed written testament of an investigator's statement of findings is required as part of the temporary financial assistance investigation process, and verification that all other forms of financial assistance available have been sought and applied for, or have already been denied. Annual cumulative expenditure of temporary financial assistance grants may not exceed $700,000 without prior approval of the chairman of both the Americanism and Finance Commission and the National Commander. And be it further resolved that the Committee on Children and Youth, with review and concurrence of the Americanism and Finance Commissions, maintain in writing and review at least every 2 years the conditions, rules, guidelines, and procedures for managing administration of the temporary financial assistance program. And be it further resolved that updates aforementioned in this resolution be effective with its passing, and that no previous grant recipients shall be eligible to apply due to present or future increases in the grant amount. And be it finally resolved that resolution number 5 of the National Executive Committee, May 2022, titled Statement of Policy and Procedures for the Temporary Financial Assistance Program, is hereby superseded and rescinded. Resolution number 14 has the approval of the Committee on Children and Youth, the Americanism Commission, the Finance Commission, and your Subcommittee on Resolutions, and I move for its adoption.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for the adoption of Resolution 14. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Hold on, you got, Commander.
Can you please use the microphone, Mary? Yep, can we use the microphone?
Commander, I have, this one? Okay. I need a step stool.
No, you don't pick it up, you don't pick it up.
Okay. Okay. Mary Erdman from the Department of Arkansas. I have two questions. Since that specifies Title 10, does that not leave out the Coast Guard? It does not? The Coast Guard is under Title 10? I don't think so. I don't think the Coast Guard's under Title 10. Somebody check that? And then the other question I had to do with the investigator. Who might that be? Is that somebody from National, or is that from each department, or that has to investigate the home? That could be clarified. I appreciate it.
Chair recognizes Commander Moore.
Commander, this resolution is basically doing two things. Increasing the amount of money from $1,500 to $2,500. That being said, if we go back and compare a resolution from May 4th to 22 to this resolution, you'll see that is what the difference is. So, as record of verification, whether it's Title 10 or Title 14, in that period, the graciousness of this organization gave Coast Guard, when the government stopped to pay, we paid them, and we paid them out of this account. There was no legal issue at that point concerning this resolution, as I don't see any in the future considering the Coast Guard.
Chair recognizes Gaither.
There is no change in the original resolution except for the amount. Everybody knows that the investigation is done by the department, is done by the adjutant, done by the service officer. Ladies and gentlemen, the only thing we're doing is increasing the amount for people to have money. That's all we're doing here. Thank you very much.
Is there any further discussion on Resolution 14? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Carried.
Resolution number 15, titled 2028 National Convention Contract, Origin, Convention Commission. Resolved that the National Commander, after receipt of an executed contract from the American Legion Convention Corporation of Ohio for the purpose of holding the American Legion National Convention in Columbus, Ohio, August 25th through August 31st, 2028, and the review and approval of same from the National Judge Advocate, be and is hereby authorized and directed to execute said contract, and the National Adjutant be and is hereby authorized and directed to attest to same. This resolution has the approval of your Convention Commission, your Finance Commission, and your Subcommittee on Resolutions, and I move for its adoption.
It's been moved and seconded for the adoption of Resolution 15. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Carried.
Resolution number 16, titled Rescinding of Convention Commission Resolutions. Origin, Convention Commission. Resolved that the following resolutions are rescinded for the reasons indicated below. The resolutions are either superseded, accomplished, or obsolete. Resolution number 1 from the 2015 pre-convention NEC. Resolution number 23 from the 2015 fall NEC meetings. Resolution number 13 from the 2015 spring NEC meetings. Resolution number 31 from the 2016 spring NEC meeting. Resolution number 31 from the 2018 Spring NEC meeting. Resolution number 6 from the 2019 Spring NEC meeting. And resolution number 37 from the 2002 Fall NEC meetings. This resolution has the approval of the Convention Commission, your Finance Commission, and the Subcommittee on Resolutions, and I move for its adoption.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for the adoption of Resolution 16. Is there any discussion? All's in favor signify by aye. Opposed, nay. Carried.
Resolution number 17, title, the American Legion Baseball Regional Tournament Sites and Dates for 2026-2027. Origin, American Legion Baseball Committee. Resolved that the dates for the regional tournaments of the American Legion Baseball Program shall be August 5th through the 9th, 2026, and August 4th through the 8th, 2027. And be it further resolved that the National Executive Committee Resolution number 5, American Legion Baseball Regional Tournament Sites and Dates for 2024-2025, approved May 11th through 12th, 2023, is hereby rescinded at the conclusion of the 2025 regional tournaments, and be it finally resolved that the sites for the 2026-2027 regional tournaments of the American Legion Baseball Program be awarded to Region 1, Shrewsbury, Massachusetts. Region 2, Shrewsbury, Massachusetts. Region 3, Cherryville, North Carolina. Region 4, Cherryville, North Carolina. Region 5, Lexington, Kentucky. Region 6, Fargo, North Dakota. Region 7, Medford, Oregon. Region 8, Fairfield, California. This resolution has the approval of the American Legion Baseball Committee, the Americanism Commission, the Finance Commission, and your Subcommittee on Resolutions, and I move for its adoption.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for the adoption of Resolution 17. Is there any discussion? All's in favor signify by aye. Opposed, nay. Carried.
Resolution number 18, title, American Legion Baseball 100th Anniversary. Origin, Americanism Commission. Resolved that the American Legion will commemorate 100 years of American Legion Baseball by hosting a 4-team double elimination tournament in Millbank, South Dakota, July 11th through the 13th, 2025. And be it further resolved that the Americanism Commission may conduct the 4-team tournament with teams for Minnesota American Legion, Nebraska American Legion, North Dakota American Legion, and South Dakota American Legion. And be it finally resolved that the Americanism Commission may conduct the tournament funded by donations first as approved expenditures, and that the total obligation by American Legion Charities, Inc. shall not exceed the grant amount of $13,500. This resolution has the approval of your Americanism Commission, Finance Commission, and your Subcommittee on Resolutions, and I move for its adoption.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for the adoption of Resolution 18. Is there any discussion? All's in favor signify by aye. Opposed, nay. Carried. At this time, I will accept contributions for any and all American Legion charities. National Vice Commander Robbins, please assume the chair. Oh, I'm sorry.
National Commander. Commander.
Yes, Commander.
Members of the NEC, given the light that the Resolution 18 was approved and it calls for donations first and then funds from our national finance second, I'd like to start with a donation of $100. And I would like for us to run this for the next 2 days so members here would have an opportunity, if they don't have any cash or a check, to go to an ATM and help us support. This is only a once-in-a-lifetime 100th centennial tournament. So I would like to ask that we pass the hat and see what we can collect to help offset this cost and make it a quality tournament that the boys deserve.
I appreciate that, Commander. Sergeant Arms, would you please see to that? Yes, Commander.
If I may, sir, based on what past National Commander Dillinger has said, the Department of Iowa makes a commitment of $600 to go towards this grant. That commitment to be funded by personal contributions by the department commander and myself of $100 and $400 to come from the department.
Thank you very much, Commander. Do I hear 700? Vice Commander Robbins, would you please assume the chair? Chair recognizes Past National Commander. Hey, keep it.
Eddie.
Keep it down. We're still in session.
I was fortunate enough to be at the 50th anniversary in 1975 in Rapid City, South Dakota. However, you hear me 100. I pledged $500.
Thank you, Past National Commander Comer.
Mr. Commander,
Yes, Commander.
the question came up, if you have a check, write it to American Legion Charities, and in the memo section, write Centennial Tournament.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Commander.
Can we do that tomorrow, Commander? Today?
Mr. Commander.
I recognize you.
The Department of Finance has made a donation of $500 towards this cause.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'll start accepting donations.
Good morning, all. I'm John Fritz from the Department of Pennsylvania, the commander. I have with me Mike Stalacio, our NEC for the department. We are the home of Ronald F. Conley, the past national commander of the organization. We have 112,000 veterans in our department, Legionnaires. So on behalf of those, to help recover from the hurricanes and the wildfires we had last year, I would like to donate $64,684.50 to the National. Yeah.
I want to say thank you very much, Pennsylvania. Jim.
Thank you, Commander.
Can we please keep it down? We are still in session.
On behalf of my family, Denise Conrad and myself, we are making a personal donation to OCW in the amount of $15,000.
Jim, I'll just be right here for a picture.
Commander, as you know, we always have the annual bean and cornbread dinner at Post 64, the last Sunday in March. Well, we just had this, and I'll give you the totals of that and some other OCW contributions. Post 64 itself, American Legion, donated $50,700. American Legion Squadron 64, $5,000. American Legion Riders 64, $1,500. American Legion Auxiliary 64, $1,000. Mississippi Raglips Band that's always donated their time to this and just donates the tips to OCW is $288. The bean dinner and tips were $648. And some donations while we were there for Donna and Linda Hudson, $100. Larry Lowry, $100. Rich and Andy Woodkey, $100. Mike and Twyla White, $100. Cheryl Treat, $50. Boonville American Legion Post 200, $500. For the total that day was $60,086. Then some other contributions we had since then. Rob and Susie Burkhart, our department commander, $50. Jerry and Linda Jordan, $200. Then I want to talk about this one just a little bit. I had a friend that his wife died. He went to the funeral home and told them that he wanted donations going to Operation Comfort Warrior. This envelope says Wounded Warrior Project because the funeral home went and put out the Wounded Warrior Project. I don't know how many thousands of dollars we lost because the checks were made out to Wounded Warrior Project. So I ask you to go back and be sure you go to your funeral homes and be sure it's not this envelope. As you can remember, back when I was National Commander, I called Dan Wheeler, and right next to our American Legion post, the Wounded Warrior Project put up a billboard because they knew that was my post. So just be sure you go back to your funeral homes and be sure they're not using this envelope. Because I don't know how much money we lost, but we ended up getting, because these have cash in them, and it's the only reason we got to keep them is because they got cash in them, and that was $150 from this memory of this gentleman's wife. So with that total, everything that we've took in so far on Operation Comfort Warriors is $60,506. And I got one other $20 donation here, and why me, Charlie, past National Commander Charlie Smith, and I were outside yesterday, finishing our meeting, waiting on the van. We were talking, and somebody came up to me and gave me $20. And if you're in a room, please be sure to tell me who you are. I'll just put it down anonymous because I don't know. Because we were talking, and about 9 of you got out of the van, and somebody gave me $20 for Operation Comfort Warrior. We want to be sure it goes on record who you are. And we hope that everybody that's on this list gets a thank you note from the national organization. Thank you.
Commander, on behalf of past National Commander Joe Frank, Department of Missouri, I'd like to donate $100 to the Veterans and Children's Foundation. Thank you very much.
Commander, I have a couple of donations. I have 2 donations for the NEF. One from Seward Post 5 in Alaska, $250, and the second one, $100 from General Buckner, Post 16 in Homer. And then I have 3 donations for the Veterans and Children Fund, $250 from Seward Post 5, $500 from Muldoon Post 29 in Anchorage, and $100 from General Buckner, Post 16 in Homer, Alaska.
Commander,
Commander, it's time for the canning pickles donation.
Okey dokey.
My wife's good work and generosity of all of you people, $1,000 to the Veterans Children's Foundation 1919 Society.
Thank you very much, Commander.
Mr. Commander, my friend, first and foremost, I must say I apologize. Earlier, I heard that beautiful name, Dan, and I jumped the gun. Sorry, Mr. Wheeler. I know my place. I'm junior, all right? Let's get on to some serious stuff. On behalf of you, my friend, and of course, your leadership, our leadership team here, we talk about changing lives and saving lives. I know within this room, there's some serious stuff, right? Sometimes it's some low valleys. And yes, we can laugh and we can wave our pom-poms, right, gents? Okay? And have a great time. But you know something that moved me is when I was traveling around this world and the influence that we do. We truly do change lives. And there ain't no doubt about it, we save them too. Yes, thank you. But one thing that really hit home. Now, I know we're going to have a little good time tonight and all that good stuff, but I'm sure you're like me. There's times where we open up that refrigerator and we're hungry, but we're like, there's nothing to eat, right? When I was in Guatemala, I had families who had nothing. Nothing, Commander. You know that as well. Little niños with no shoes, running up and down. I was presenting them with bags of food that we would probably turn our nose up at. Necessities. Noodles, rice, even a couple things of soap, a little bit of oil. And then even for the little kids, to give them a box of juice. Just a box of juice and some little wafer cookie. They thought it was Jesus. Somebody asked me, and one was even a mute, but one asked me, why do you do this? I'm telling you, all that noise out there that you might hear, that we're no good or we do this and all that other stuff, is a bunch of bull. My response was, I'm an American, privileged, but you know something? I'm a Legionnaire, right? Talking about raising that bar high. Sorry to preach. However, on behalf of you, my friend, I want to present something that I did. I gave this little spiel to my congregation, and it was to a bunch of dedicated ladies, actually, from our Lutheran Missionary League, not only in our church, but in our surrounding area. And for those bags of food, I want to present this in your name, Commander, $2,345. Talking about changing a life and saving a life. I'm not done. And then, of course, our project. I say ours, and I appreciate you continuing to keep that little theme, because it does sum it up. Changing lives and saving lives. Right, family? Right. On behalf of my district, as well with myself, I want to present this donation of Veterans Children Foundation as well for $1,000. And then I'm going to have to go back to work because you keep asking me for money. So here's the other $100 as well. Love you.
Thank you, everybody. The chair recognizes Michael E. Walton of Illinois, Chairman of the National Convention Commission, for the purpose of a report.
Good day, Commander LaCourcier, members of the NEC. Although my written report is in all of your packets, I'd like to touch on some highlights of our meetings. I gave a report on the 105th National Convention that was held in New Orleans. The 2024 National Convention followed the procedures of Resolution Number 3 of May of 2023, in which the Department of Louisiana chose not to have a convention corporation and opted to receive a stipend from National of $10,000 for assisting items A through C of that resolution. President Herbie Petit and his 88 Louisiana American Legion family members, with Chairman Byron, we had Chairman Allen, Chairman Rudy Borg, Chairman Allen, Chairman Gerald, and Chairman Gill, helped make that national convention what we consider a very huge success. We used 17,000 room nights, and we had 7,900 in attendance. Past National Commander Clarence Hill, who's the president of the Convention Corporation of Florida, gave an update on the progress for our up-and-coming 106th National Convention in Tampa, which will be August 22nd through 28th of this year. Further information on the convention is on the National Convention website, and the updates will be sent out as we receive them from the convention office. Additionally, we will not have a band contest this year, but so far we have 6 ROTC, junior ROTC applications, and we're looking forward to the color guards registering with us by the 25th of July, which is the cutoff date. The National Commanders Banquet is progressing very well. Tickets may still be available from the Convention and Meetings Office. Commanders Banquet this year will feature a Florida band by the name of the Landshark Band, which is a Jimmy Buffett-style band. Atlantic City, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, all provided presentations to the committee requesting that they be awarded the 2031 National Convention of the American Legion. It's the recommendation of the Convention Commission that the 2031 112th National Convention be awarded to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for the dates of August 22nd through 28th, 2031. In other business for the Commission, Addendum A, Resolution 2847, was received and recorded by the Commission from the Department of North Carolina. They are supporting a bid for 2031 or later in hosting the National Convention of the American Legion. Addendum B states that Pittsburgh, PA is recommended to receive the tentative award of the 2031 National Convention. Commission unanimously approved the resolution to approve the 2028 National Convention contract, and also a resolution rescinding of Convention Commission resolutions. They also, all the members received their assignments for the National Convention, and with the NEC approval, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for 2031 the conventions will be set through 2031 as follows. This year, Tampa Bay, 107th in Louisville, 108th Kansas City, 109th Columbus, 110th Indianapolis, 111th in Salt Lake City, and as I mentioned, if you approve, the 112th will be in Pittsburgh. And as you all may be aware, our Indy team celebrated recent anniversaries with the American Legion as follows. Director Bridget Robinson has 17 years with us. Deputy Director Andrea Watson, 14 years. Ellen Miller, 32 years. And our new lady, Deanna Woodburn, just completed 1 year. Those of you who work, thank you, I appreciate it.
Those of you who work with these great group of ladies know what a great team we have in our Indy headquarters. We look forward to seeing everyone in Tampa for another outstanding convention. Commander and members of the NEC, that concludes my report. Thank you for allowing me to serve.
Mr. Commander, motion to receive and file the report of the Convention Commission with the exception of 2 addendums. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to receive and file the report of the National Convention Commission with the exception of 2 addendums. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion's carried. The chair recognizes Paul E. Evanson of South Dakota, Chairman of the Marketing Commission, for the purpose of a report.
Good morning, Commander, members of the National Executive Committee, and guests. Thank you for the opportunity to provide a brief update from the Marketing Commission. During our meeting, we reviewed the 2025 strategic plan, which continues to build on the American Legion's strategic priorities: veteran suicide prevention, membership, and financial stability. We continue to expand our corporate partnership portfolio with 29 active national partners and 9 promising prospects in the sales pipeline. As a part of our expansion, we are developing toolkits that can be used at both the department and post level. I encourage each of you to take the survey via the QR code provided in our written report, as your feedback will assist the Commission in providing resources that will be useful for your needs. Please share this with your departments, as this is your opportunity to provide thoughtful insight to the needs of your departments and posts. A special update was also provided on our partnership with the Army-Navy game. A key item to note: the Legion is the only veteran service organization selected through their competitive partner selection process, granting us exclusive representation at America's game. Our contractual assets reflect the investment level of our partnership as an associate partner. Note that all national broadcast media are incremental advertising spends, no matter the level of sponsorship. In 2024, the Legion did not forecast the spend, as it was a new relationship, but it has been included in the 2025 planning. Day 2 of our meeting focused on the website and branding. The redesign of legion.org continues to evolve, with improvements to user experience, content updates, and long-term plans to enhance the membership journey. The Marketing Commission also approved the refreshed branding guidelines, which now consolidates both the emblem and brand mark into a single, easy-to-follow document. These guidelines are available at legion.org/brand for all of your branding needs. The Marketing Commission will review and approve these on an annual basis. This concludes our report, and we thank you for your continued support. Thank you, Commander. Thank you.
Mr. Commander, motion to receive and file report of the Marketing Commission. There are no resolutions or addendums. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to receive and file the report of the Marketing Commission. There are no resolutions or addendums. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion's carried. Next item, as we start gearing up for break and everything, I want to let everybody know we have in the basement an assortment of sandwiches and other food items and beverages that are up for sale and everything that you can purchase. At this time, let's all rise, address our colors, and then we'll convene for lunch. We'll reconvene at 1 o'clock.
Get her done.